What is up, Nintendo Land? Welcome to Nintendo Open Air Podcast. The new Switch. According to the Wall Street Journal, this is not just a fan theory, but a reality, and one coming much sooner than we may have expected. When looking through the journal's glasses, you quickly see why all the major games over the last year are slated as 2019, and even perhaps why some pre-orders were canceled recently. One must certainly ask the question, will Animal Crossing not only be a 2019 title, but perhaps a launch title? As you can tell, this one article has our blood pumping for one reason or another. So join us tonight as we piece together this puzzle. So definitely the biggest news for this week is this article, and it's from the tech reporter in Japan, and he's basically spoke with people along Nintendo's supply chain, and they're all saying, from the people who supposedly know Nintendo's plans, they're going to release new hardware model in the second half of 2019, as early as summer.
From what I understand, his uncle works at Nintendo.
That's a joke.
Yeah, well, it sounds like it could be anything from, well, we don't, we can reduce the amount of hard drive space and save a few bucks to, let's try a D-pad on here, or, maybe a brighter screen or something.
Random point of note, we've technically already had a hardware revision, right?
That's right.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it could be something as small as that, honestly. It'll probably be a little bit bigger. I've read comparisons. I think somebody posted an article, Mo, or one of you guys had posted an article somewhere that compared it kind of to the DSi, to the DS to DS Lite revision, where there's no, there's form factor changes in that case, which we won't see here almost certainly because of Joy-Con and dock and all that kind of business. But otherwise, it's a relatively minor revision. The basic hardware is the same. The game library is the same. It's just kind of an update.
I don't see them doing
update.
a new Nintendo 3DS type one where there's certain games that don't play, or even DSi I think was like that too, right? Where there was a few games that were specific to it.
I don't think they have a big enough first-party library to start excluding titles from any version of Switch.
No, I don't think so. I think, though, it might be just a refresh with some minor upgrades to try to, boost sales with, the newest version of hardware, basically.
And it could also be a case of, these parts are becoming less common, more difficult to get. Now it's, these chips are more current, and it might not be even a case of price. It's just, these are the more available. These, slightly newer chips are the more available ones now. We're gonna redesign with a bunch of those or whatever. Yeah. But I imagine that the capabilities will be comparable. It'll have a nice tweak here or there, maybe. But Mo, I don't know. You had mentioned space. You think? What do you think? What's your honest opinion on whether they'll add any space to it?
I think that whenever they upgrade, they always want to do something to disappoint early adopters. I think that's one thing that they could do is. But like I said, I could see it being as piss poor as them including a 4 gigabyte SD card for people to throw away like they did with the 3DSs.
Yeah.
I'd be like, this is the new 36 gigabyte model. But yeah, they easily should at least double the size, especially once we're getting into games where like some of these games like Smash and I think even Donkey Kong like almost take up the whole thing.
Yeah.
It wouldn't surprise me to see them throw in maybe a 32 gig or whatever's the smallest size SD card that they can give you that will fit Smash on it since the time.
Or
they could take all those unsold SanDisk Mario branded ones.
That's true.
Well, that's what I was wondering. Is having those cards available on the market eliminating the possibility they will come with a pack-in, because the pack-ins are always like these cheap, some other brand.
Yeah.
Hey, we got a deal.
They were not necessarily cheap though. They were still a brand name. Yeah, they were usually Toshiba. Yeah, which is all right. I mean,
Yeah.
I get you. They're not something fancy, but they weren't no name either. They were
No, but they're
somebody,
probably
so they
all made
were
in the
okay.
same place anyway.
That's
And
true
just,
too.
what
They
name
might
are we
very well
stamping
be
on
the
them today,
same.
boys?
Yeah.
Um,
Who's paying us to stamp
yeah.
their name on it? Yeah.
I don't know. It's like part of me could see them doing a like a portable only, but I mean, they pretty much would have to admit that the 3DS is, they would have to compete directly with a 3DS at that point to say, like, do one without detachable Joy-Con or something that was just like, this is our Switch Lite that's just a screen and comes with a dedicated D-pad and just,
I could
um,
see them going edge to edge on the screen or
yeah,
closer to it, given putting a smaller bezel, given
yeah,
maybe an extra quarter-inch or something.
yeah. In this
Not
day and age,
much,
that
but
bezel's
something.
humongous for the
Yeah,
screen.
yeah,
Mhm.
it's like from a tablet 5, 6, 7 years ago.
Yeah,
Like a
but they
modern tablet.
also
Yeah.
you've got the rails on the sides too, so
Yeah.
they don't want the screen busted, pushed right up against the thing that somebody's slamming a Joy-Con onto.
What else?
Fair enough.
As well.
Or if it'd be cheaper to drop the screen entirely and go with just TV mode version.
That
Well,
would be
yeah,
down the
and
road.
yeah,
Yeah.
we talked about that before too, like what we could see happening on if a revision ever did happen, and I'd be totally fine with that. Although it would be even more funny that the cards are the size they are if you had like some substantial box. Although they really could probably do a Switch,
The size
like
of a Roku or
yeah, like a Fire Stick,
almost a stick. Yeah. I mean, not.
and then just pop the game into the back.
I'm thinking the Roku Ultra that was the little. Remember, it was just a little square. It was
Yeah.
still really small. It was not much bigger than it was like a thick drink coaster.
Yeah.
But yeah, they could do something like that. That's just got a little slot in it. I could see it totally working. But that kind of stuff to me, that's going to come out, and I think it totally will come out eventually. But to me, that won't come out until like the Switch is sunsetting. Like when the Wii
Yeah.
Mini came out, or the revision of the NES came out, the top load. Right, those
I
all
think
came
they
out
have to let
way at the end of the life.
the dream of everybody buying like 8 different, other than Z, 8 different sets of Joy-Con. They have to let that dream die before they're willing to completely get rid of the whole Joy-Con concept. As far as
Yeah, that
I
just
mean,
did not pan out like they hoped. Not at $80 a pop for two.
I think people should just admit that the Joy-Con aren't that great. They don't feel that great. They're small. Like they're good enough, I guess.
Well, again, remember, every once in a while my house is crowded with like 8 to 10-year-olds, and
Yeah.
that is.
I
I think
love
you
them.
mentioned
Yeah.
your daughter too. That is absolutely their preferred controller because
Yeah.
it's their
I don't know if
size.
it's
They
the
love it.
smaller hands. Yeah, that's what I kind of think. Like she uses she actually, if she's playing on the TV, she'll use the Joy-Con grip, but her
Hmm.
preferred way is handheld on the system. It seems like it's
That
almost an
too. Yeah.
afterthought to her to anymore. And for the longest time, I only let her play on the TV because I didn't even want her to understand that there was a separate mode. Like so, I was like, it was like Wizard of Oz. It was the man behind the curtain. It's like I would literally put the Switch behind the TV so she couldn't see it, and she just
Like,
loved
oh,
it.
there's just magic
Yeah,
games on the
yeah,
TV, and here's the controller, and yeah, she doesn't realize there's a box or anything
yeah.
there.
And then
Yeah.
one day I was just too late because I had to move it from my bedroom to a living room, and every time, and like one day I just got too lazy, and I was just like, here, play it in handheld. And
And
so,
she was like, oh.
yeah. So now it's like yeah, she'll come and just grab it right out of the dock now. And load up Odyssey and run around for a while. And Fortnite, she loves playground mode in Fortnite. She'll say, "Put me in there, but put me in there with no other people." She doesn't want to have to get shot.
Nice.
But yeah, I don't know. I'm
Something
trying to
else.
think like what would I buy, and as far as a Switch revision, and I'm fine with what we've got. I would like to see more memory. I think that's the big one.
Yeah, as far as the hardware goes, I've heard that several, at least of the big titles, are all been programmed so that if it has more processing power, they can just do that and
Pump
run
it up.
smoother or prettier or whatever, high resolution to
And
a
a better
certain
battery
extent.
would be nice too.
So I don't think
Sorry,
that'll be
Jason.
much
Yeah.
of an issue.
I would like to see them update some of the features that we don't have. Like, they're going to maybe migrate, which I don't think they will do this, migrate the voice chat to onboard on Switch, give us the option to connect Bluetooth to it. So we can play with a wireless headset. Something like that. That'd be minor, but major.
That just kind of struck me, Jason. I hadn't thought about this till just now. The other thing would be, what if that new one could do things like if it had just a little more processor boost to be able to do live streaming Twitch, whereas the old one can't.
That would be minor.
Or something. I could see it. I still don't think it's very likely. I bought
you think this
OG.
one's not possible? You don't think it can handle it?
Playing
because you think every game is pushing the limit of what the system can probably deal with?
I kind of think so. Remember Fortnite had to kill and you can post clips again now, right?
No.
You still can't?
Gone. Nope.
See,
they discontinued it.
See, that to me says they're bumping up against the ceiling. It may not be, but I kind of assuming that that's the case.
Here's what I don't understand about that, and we'll get off of that too. But on Fortnite, on every other system, well, I guess except for maybe mobile, you can save the entire replay of the entire game you were in.
Well, and here's the thing
view
about
it from
that.
anybody's angle.
It's not video. That's the other thing is when you're recording a video clip on Switch, it's video. But when you're recording, the replays in Fortnite are just like the game files, and it just records where you are and who you shoot and yada yada.
Right.
So
Rocket League has the option.
Yeah, and those files can be way small.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't understand why that feature isn't there for Fortnite, other than just a feature they couldn't,
I'm guessing Panic Button wasn't involved, so maybe they just squeezed the most out of it.
We don't even have stats on Switch. Every other system has a stats tab where you can view your stats. Maybe not mobile, but all the other major consoles.
Yeah, where you can see how many wins you had and all that stuff.
But they must.
But we found out recently that they are indeed tracking them and keeping up with them, because they sent out emails this week. Oh, here's your stats from last season. Here's just some of them, not all of them.
Yeah, here's how many wins you had.
Like 6 different ones. And that was
just some about minimizing the Switch version down, like this, right? Yeah. Only the basics, only what you need and nothing more, kind of thing, just to make it run as smooth as possible.
This is how you play. This is how you pay.
that's exactly. You don't need anything else.
Yeah.
The minimum, except it's got voice chat where nothing else does.
Yeah.
So that's part of the minimum, or that's something extra.
The way they see it, apparently, which is nice. Like you said, that was the moment where you realized, hey, Nintendo is not exactly being honest about not being able to do voice chat on the system.
And that had to be a hard choice for them. It's like, we want Fortnite on the system. Epic's not going to budge on voice chat, but if we put Fortnite on the system with voice chat, that kind of tips our hand and calls bullshit on us.
Yeah, these Splatoon players are going to know.
Yeah, but obviously having Fortnite on Switch was a big enough deal that they just bent over and took it, because what the hell else they got?
Oh, I'd love to see the stats on that stuff.
Was that their big E3 item? Was Fortnite?
Pretty much.
I think it was supposed to be. Yeah, more. Yeah, the Smash documentary.
That's a good way to put it.
The worst. Yeah, but I mean, I think Fortnite was a bigger deal. Everybody else knew what a big deal it was to us. It was just like, okay, this game that we keep hearing about is finally coming. We'll play it a few times and never again.
And it didn't make that big of a splash in the overall scheme of things, because it's on all the other systems, and it has been. So,
but Reggie looks forward to jumping off the battle bus and joining us in the field.
Of course he does.
Now you can play portable without being on a phone.
Yeah. Except you still have to be in a house. Whereas
not necessarily. You could be in a Starbucks or,
I guess so. Yeah.
You know what I did? I played tethered from my phone from a wedding in France, and it worked. It was crappy, and it was laggy and whatever, but it was I was able to hop in and just hide under a tree and complete a whatever my thing was. I think it was outlive so many people. So I just played a couple rounds while I was sitting in a wedding reception, at the table. Tethered to the phone, and it worked. Did the job. So it can be doable.
That's what they'll do. The Nintendo Online service is going to add an extra option where you can get 4G Nintendo Network.
You know
in the
what?
new Switch.
They absolutely would never do it, but that would be such an easy, cheap, simple thing to add with a hardware revision.
And to do it as an upgrade to your online, you pay $20 for the basic online a year. Add an extra 30 to that, you'll get access to so many gigs of our 4G. You know, they would you get 4 gigs a month of our 4G.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah,
exactly. 4G, I don't think.
Yeah.
And then for anybody who doesn't have this new Switch, there will be a Joy-Con that's got it built in.
Oh, there you go.
But you'll have to buy it as a pair.
I was thinking a stylish dongle that hangs out of the bottom while you're trying to play.
We'll upgrade all of the online NES games to 4K resolution.
Yeah, I don't see that happening. I can't imagine. I mean, it would. I know PlayStation has, I think, officially announced now that the PlayStation 5 is coming, and I wouldn't be surprised if it's not going to be something like this. If other companies aren't going to take the idea from Switch and
Nintendo
make it way better.
Sony has never released a product that wasn't a copy of a Nintendo product, so I wouldn't surprise me.
But everybody copies everybody.
But nobody quite as brazenly as Sony, though, man.
Yeah.
I read an article somewhere where Sony said they weren't interested in going back into the portable market.
That's what they said, but I think what they meant is standalone portables. The Vita has been on life support forever, and it still does occasionally get a game. I think the Vita is a nice system. Like, I've seen people with it, and it's everything the Switch isn't. You can go online on it and watch Netflix. Yeah. As far as hardware revisions, though, I don't really know what all they would do. It would be Jason's Bluetooth thing would be something. But then the thing is, because this app is a pillar.
Yeah, that's another point.
It's going to take a long time to get away from that pillar. Although anyone who's used the app, so Google had just announced this week that I'm going to really date this episode. That Google Plus is shutting down, and that the average user logs in and logs out in less than 5 seconds. I have a feeling the Nintendo Online app has a similar average user experience of being less than 5 seconds.
Yeah, probably.
Hop on, check something, done.
Well, user engagement. I would imagine people try it one time or log into it one time and go, "Oh, I don't play Splatoon," and then never log into it again.
Right. Yeah, because I mean that's all it's right now. That's all that's there, and the NES games. But it's like,
that's all that's been there since July of last year. Now, what the fuck, guys? Like, no, the Switch, the lean Switch interface is still the lean Switch interface. We can't even get folders.
That's a feature.
We can't even get discounts on My Nintendo for Switch games. We're not even looking at user interface yet. We're not even to that point.
We're almost 2 years into this product. Well, we're a year and a half into this product at least, and more than. And it's like, what the hell, guys? What have you been doing the last year and a half?
It's going to be special offer fortune cookies for $2 each. That'll give you either a theme or a folder or something you can use to format your Switch.
I hate to admit, I probably would pay $2 for a gotcha machine to get a theme.
Oh, if the Nintendo Switch started doing loot boxes for backgrounds,
for themes, I have to admit, I might get suckered into a couple of those at first. Like if there was a Metroid one, right? You would too. You'd drop a few. You'd give it a few tries.
God, I'd be so pissed off. I might not do it though. That would be really brazen to be like, we're gonna add themes. The thing is, they're completely random, and there's over 100 to not choose from. Yeah.
And all the good ones are, 1 in 1,000 drops.
Yeah.
And all the Kirby ones are 1 in 3.
But speaking of Nintendo's Online, we did all get our Splatoon thing, shirts and shoes. So
I got 8 of
those
them.
emails went out. Yeah.
Yeah.
As did Barry, I think.
Is there anybody who didn't pay for online that needs a code?
If you didn't pay for online, you don't need the code.
You won't be able to claim it.
That's true.
That's true.
I guess
you probably would be able to claim it because it's through the eShop, which is really weird.
Yeah.
You claim it through the eShop, but you can't do anything in Splatoon unless you're going to.
What's weird is, for the email, I got the 8 codes, even though I've only got 4 people logged on. I redeemed one for myself. Then a little while later, one of my boys hopped on, and the box was sitting there with the stuff for him too, and he never used the code.
Oh.
No.
So you use a code, and then anybody who just logs in on your console probably just gets it anyway. I'll have to check that. I'll have to go.
Yeah.
I'll log in with my alt and see if it just is already there.
Yeah, it's cool.
And then
I
you
got
had to
7
log out.
codes. Yeah.
And then you had to log out and go to the news feed and reboot the software to get the costumes
The Halloween
for
stuff.
Splatoon. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a good segue into our next topic, which is, if you have not heard about it, Splatoween is coming to Splatoon.
Splatoween.
Something like that. Yeah, we're getting a Halloween-inspired global Splatfest, and they seem to be doing it up nice. Going to give us some different little nicks and knacks in the stages. It's Tricks versus Treats, which we're doing Team Treats. Me and Max is not here to speak. I think we're the only two playing.
They should have done Blood versus Guts.
Yes. No.
And had red ink and then green tapioca chunky ink.
But anyway, as Barry mentioned, they are giving away a new set of headgear, 4 different items you can get through the news section.
Are those going to stay? Like, are those permanent?
Those are temporary, from what I understand.
Oh, see, that stinks.
Oh, I thought they were permanent, but I didn't look into it, so I could be wrong.
Wait, how do you get them? When do those show up?
What are you asking? Are you asking, will they always be available to download?
Well, no. Will you have them? Will you be able to retain them this
They're
Christmas?
permanent, yeah. They're
okay,
permanent.
Okay, that's what I thought.
Yeah.
If you go to the news section right now on the Switch, there's a Halloween tweet of Splatoon 2, and if you read the whole article and get to the bottom, it says click here to redeem your thing. And I think they did something in Mario like that too, where there was something where it was like, or no, it was Breath of the Wild. That's what did it with the stupid in-game items, where you take it from the news section, and then when you load it into the game, there's just a box there in the plaza. Oh, they did it with the World Championship shirts too. That Splatoon did.
Yeah,
there's just a box. So
it does say in that article, though, that with the download thing at the bottom, that once it rotates off the news feed, then it won't be available anymore. So I don't know if that's not available to download anymore, or it'll be harder to find for a while, or what.
But one of the cooler ones is a hockey mask for your Splatoon characters. So that's nice, and it'll go with your hockey jerseys.
I'm grabbing this action now. This is actually the first time I've logged into Splatoon in months.
Yeah,
probably.
Me too. And there's devil horns, and then a couple of very Japanese things.
Oh, come on. You know what the other one is. The other one is a...
it's a salmonoid or something. Or no, it's a cuttlefish or a...
Okay, there is like is it an angler?
Anglerfish.
I don't know what it is, yeah. So but then there's the uniquely Japanese one.
Yeah. I'm sorry, I did not look into that.
Which is hat with thing over your face. Hat with a streamer in your eye. I don't know what the hell it is.
Squid-shaped streamer.
Yeah. It's weird.
One thing they are doing with this time is they're making it a 48-hour Splatfest, which I think we all wish they were longer, so it's nice to get one.
I actually saw one person do a drawing that said, their first reaction when they heard it was a 48-hour Splatfest was yay, and then about 10 seconds later they were like, wait a second, 2 whole days with nothing but turf wars.
That's
Kianchi was the other hat, by the way. Come on, Jason, Kianchi.
Yeah, I'm sorry, I didn't look that up, and I'm not familiar with that.
Little devil horns, hockey mask, anglerfish, and Kianchi, which is a hat with a tassel in your face.
It looks like some kind of seal or something. I'm sure it's some kind of Japanese
Or is it
symbol.
almost looks like a veil of some sort?
The hockey mask is the best, especially since it blacks out your eyes.
I didn't realize it, and I haven't wore any of them. I might wear one for the Splatfest. Maybe not.
I've been using the anglerfish.
The icons for tricks is so much cooler, man. I'm disappointed you picked treat.
Yeah. Well, they like candy. And they're the only ones who are actually playing, so let's give them this one.
Thanks.
I might have to.
Barry plays with us sometimes.
That's true.
Yeah, if I'm around, I'll hop in for a bit.
Hey, I've only missed like the last 2 Splatfests.
I still think and Z will probably be in on me with this. If you actually got to keep the shirt or got to keep something from the Splatfest, if there was some reason to participate other than just for the fun of it.
Super sea snails.
Yeah, no, I agree. Having a little, like having the shirt from each Splatfest with the side that you picked would have been
yeah. Only if you were on the winning side. What if losers didn't get one and the winners got one?
Oh, that would
How many of those would you have though at the end if you'd done all of them? You got like 20 Splatfest tees?
Yeah,
I'd
that's
wear
cool.
them though. You'd be like, I'm going hot dog all the time.
Yeah,
mayonnaise in your face. Like the unpopular ones. Well, I guess they're always unpopular that wins.
I guess technically you get some of those little ability chunks out of it too if you keep going and scrubbing your shirt.
That's true.
Yeah. But I don't know. I'm so splatted out. I mean, you guys don't even really play anymore. You're still getting the gear from
yeah, still playing
gear.
That doesn't take but like 3 matches to get the Grisco gear, so I play that.
It takes me more than 3 matches, but yeah, I usually try and get the Grisco gear.
And when Mr. Nintendo knocks on your door to check your save data, he'll see that you've been a great customer.
If that happens, he will not get in.
Say, you've got all the Grisco stuff. Here's your $1 million.
Okay.
Yeah. I don't know. It's I just can't be motivated for that anymore.
I enjoy it when I play it.
Yeah.
And if Splatfests were reduced the amount of time you had to play it, I'd really enjoy it. Like if they cut the time required in half, I'd be cool with that.
I did my daughter wanted to play Splatoon and then was wanting to lay down and play it in handheld mode, holding it over her head.
Okay.
And like she was having trouble with it, and I was like, "Let me see." So I laid down with it and held it over my head. And the gyro controls don't really work. You can't like recalibrate them so that it's like centered in that position, or I couldn't. Anyway,
that's interesting.
Like, I figured I'd be able to center it and just be able to play that way if I wanted to. What if you're the kind of person that wants to lay on your back and play Splatoon 2?
Wow, I never thought about that. Guess you better play sticks, right?
You gotta sit up if you're gonna play Splatoon. No lazy people allowed.
All right.
Yeah, I guess you could do sticks. I kind of want to try that now that I've played Fortnite forever.
Try twin sticks on Splatoon?
Yeah, just to see. But anyway, go ahead.
All right. I was going to say, since we're talking about global things, Nintendo recently made a sort of achievement, and that is they made it into the best global brands. And that's done by Interbrands, and it's in their 2018 report, in case you haven't seen the news for it.
Number 99.
Yeah, they're the first time they've been included. They're at 99. To give you some perspective on that, the top brands are Apple, Google, Amazon, and Microsoft, and Sony comes in at 59th. So Nintendo's still way down there, but they're at least in the top 100.
I want to know who's number 98 and who's number 100.
Oh, I should have known Eric would ask. Mo would ask.
It's like, congratulations, you just barely lost out to Tampax. And
one of them was an alcohol brand.
Seagram's.
No, Hennessy.
Oh, Hennessy. Yeah, Cavassier.
Really? Hennessy is a bigger brand than Nintendo?
Yes.
I find that...
Have you listened to rap this decade?
Yeah, I suppose. Yeah.
I don't hear them talking about Nintendo. I hear
Fair
them about
enough.
Hennessy all the time.
Any sort of alcohol brand, I suppose, is probably...
Okay. Hennessy is 98. Nintendo is 99, and Subaru is 100.
Subaru.
Yeah,
still a thing. Oh.
Yeah, they still make vehicles and such.
Well, I guess I kind of rank Nintendo and Subaru in a similar kind of level of brand recognition.
All three of those are new to the list.
Yeah.
So.
See, Nintendo, and was it last week when there was a tweet that just for some reason caught me, and it was Jordan Sparks, who I still don't remember if she's somebody from one of the singing shows, or I don't remember where she came from. I just know that I heard her name years ago. That she had tweeted out just out of the blue, and Nintendo retweeted, of course, and it was like, "Thank you, Nintendo, for allowing me to play Super Mario Party." Or wait, no, it was Pokemon Let's Go using your Pokeball Plus controller. And I was like, this reeks of paid promotion.
And so that's what you replied as well.
So that's what I replied to the tweet. But it's like, Nintendo needs to get Post Malone or something. They always pick these weird celebrities that I've never heard of. By the way, she is famous. She rose to fame in 2007 after winning American Idol, the 6th season. So, yeah. So in 2007
She was cheap to get.
Yeah.
I just picture Nintendo calling...
She won a Grammy, too, I think, or was nominated for a Grammy. She's got talent.
I just expect Nintendo to call up these talent agencies and say, hey, we need a celebrity to promote this. And we've got this much money to put into it.
You got anybody whose food stamps run out this month?
Yeah, there's a price range, I'm sure, they throw out. Yeah, and maybe it is food stamp level.
They're like, who would appeal to the teen audience from a decade ago?
That's true. They're looking for people like post-college age millennial types with disposable income. So they're probably, you're right, they probably are hitting a target of somebody that people who were 10 years ago, were 10 years old 10 years ago, or in their tweens 10 years ago would remember.
Damn it, if we could just get those Olsen girls to play the Switch one time.
Are they still both alive? What's... okay.
I think one of them married a rich guy because they didn't have enough money. I don't know. They've got so much money that we don't have to hear from them ever again. They're like, I'm done even trying to get your money. Actually, they probably still have clothing lines or something that we don't know about, and a billion other things, but they're good. They don't need to lower themselves to advertising for Nintendo. Although Dave Coulier probably would.
Yeah, he doesn't suffer from brand fatigue.
He's like,
what about Uncle Jesse?
Here's my favorite 1-2 Switch 2 game. Cut it out.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
That was a deep Full House reference.
It was. It was in a commercial not too long ago, and he did that.
Yeah.
So I don't even remember what the commercial was for. I was just like, Dave Coulier, is he that old?
Reverse mortgages?
Yeah. Suicide prevention? Oh,
Oh, that's cool. Oh man.
I like Dave Coulier. He was on. Was he on that? It's gonna turn into old guys thinking. It was like he was on like one of those Nickelodeon shows, like one of the ones with the slime or something. Can't do that on television or something
He was a
like that at
host,
one point. Or maybe that's it. He was something. He did something back in the day. Before I knew him as a person, before I knew him on Full House.
Yeah, I think so.
Whatever.
It was the slime game. I think you're right.
We better do
was
something
vaguely
before we end
familiar.
up talking about Hey Dude.
All
I
right.
think he hosted a game show or something.
It could have
not
been that. Yeah.
something else.
No.
Was it Double Dare? Is that the name?
Double Dare had its own NES game. No, that was Mark. What's his face?
Mark Summers.
Summers. There you go.
Yeah.
See, folks. We know all the old Nickelodeon game shows. We're hip.
Wow.
But
Yeah, if you remember those, give us a little nudge there and say,
Yeah.
I remember those too.
I don't remember why I was
Yeah.
talking about the paid promotion stuff, but for some reason I brought it up. But
Talking about paid promotion, that was an excellent segue into our next
Mm.
topic, where we're going to
brilliant.
our next couple topics are going to help show you why Nintendo is a top brand. And this is a follow-up from something we've talked about, I think, at least once, maybe twice on the podcast. And I know Z has kind of hands-on experience with this, and that is a company called MariKart, which exists in Japan. And if you don't know what this is, it's basically a kart ride you can take in Japan and dress up as Nintendo characters and drive around. So this is in Tokyo, so it's a big city and everything. So Nintendo sued them for copyright infringement, of course, because it's called Mario Kart and you dress up as Mario characters. And they actually finally have won the lawsuit for 10 million yen, and they're going to discontinue the use of costumes.
I wish I had hands-on experience with that.
But you were in the area at one point in time, and you wanted to do it.
Yeah, and it turned out that the reason we couldn't was because you have to, for Japan, you have to like apply for an international driver's license in advance before you go over there, and that includes if you have to do.
Well, these were on public
Go-karts.
streets as well, right?
That's true. Even go-karts.
It's too bad they didn't have a Double Dash version for them.
Yeah, I think they can still use costumes. They just can't use Nintendo character costumes, so they can dress up as whatever else.
Yeah. King Kong instead of Donkey Kong.
Who else do you want to get sued by?
It's too bad Wario's already taken. I was going to say they could just change. Maybe they can make it an E and Wario.
Bowsette. It's not official.
There you go. Sort of.
Yeah, they could do that.
That's going to be a popular Halloween costume this year, I can already tell.
I fear how many of those costumes I will see pictures of on Twitter.
I've seen 100 of them. Like every cosplayer, that's what's hot on the cosplay scene. These people just whip up outfits out of the ether. It's just like, oh, there's something hot on Twitter right now. I better sew a costume right now.
I had all the materials in the closet waiting for it to happen.
I think they do. I think that's what cosplayers are really, that's their true talent. It's that they can put together a cosplay outfit just out of, they're the MacGyver of seamstresses.
Yes.
It's a paid promotion. MariKart sued. Good.
Okay. Well, I believe we have run full course there. So the next topic is kind of a tech topic here. So this little interesting thing has come up since Switch 6.0.0 has come out, which it is now 6.0.1. But since that has come out, there's a limiter on upload speeds on the Switch. We don't really know why or what this is to do with anything. It's still in effect on LAN or on Wi-Fi, and the limit is 8 megabytes per second. I'm hoping Z can extrapolate here because I don't have any idea why they would impose this.
I don't think anyone knows. It's really weird. I guess it's less than the amount you would need to interfere with any video game. But I don't know what anyone would be uploading. But I guess it's to stop people from hacking and uploading their music collection to Napster. I have no idea.
I have no idea either. It's just an odd little thing come up.
Keep you from using Pirate Bay on your Switch. If that's still a thing.
I have no idea.
Was that ever a thing?
Maybe. Not on your Switch, though. We can't even get past certain... It's funny how there's like... In Fortnite, you can click on to go to Fortnite's like page. And in Rocket League, you can click on something to go to a Rocket League page. But if you try to click to any other page on Rocket League or Fortnite's website from that, it's like, this page cannot be accessed. So it's like it's like when you work in an office and they've got the stupid thing on your computer that blocks you from going to any fun sites. Like porn.
Yeah, in some place, I know what you mean. Some places have that set extremely right. Like, because I log into other people's computers all the time for work, so it's like sometimes it's like, oh, I need to download a utility. Some places they have like 5 websites they can hit, and that's it.
Yeah, I've worked at places like that, and it's like, and that's how the Switch you can log in and get on Facebook through your Switch. And then you can get to Google's homepage, but if you type anything in the search bar and hit search, it's blocked. You can only view the page where you can type in the search, but you can't get out beyond that. And I've heard some reports of people saying even some hotels and stuff where you have to connect for the Wi-Fi, it'll block the page that they need.
Oh, I've not had to block the page, but I've had it. I remember the first time I experienced this. I took the Switch out on a trip for the first time, and in the hotel that night, I opened it up, and it's like sign into the Wi-Fi, and it pulled up this page, and it's like, what is this foreign object on my Switch? This looks like a web page, and it worked.
Yeah. It is. I mean, the keyboard really sucks, and maybe that's why they don't allow us to get on the internet. Like, once people see how bad this keyboard really is.
That's something else you could use is if you had a Bluetooth keyboard.
Well, you can do a USB keyboard on the Switch. Technically, I think you might even be able to play Fortnite mouse and keyboard on Switch. I don't know. PlayStation just got that option. You can at least play keyboard.
I'm curious. I'm not curious enough to plug in a keyboard and mouse and try it. I don't think, but
maybe you can't. I could be full of crap on it. But I know you can. I know you can hook up a keyboard through the USB.
Yeah, I remember that back when the support got added for the, supposedly accidentally for the Smash controller.
Yeah.
I think they added support for a bunch more keyboards.
So
and mice
when Sega Ages gets around to bringing us Typing of the Dead, Dreamcast, we'll be good to go. Man, that's such a bad idea, Sega Ages.
Don't do it, Sega, please.
I don't know why Sega Ages would be a good idea for Dreamcast games because there are people out there, but that's like a niche within a niche of the people who are begging for Dreamcast games. But I could see that, but I don't know why they're doing Genesis games when they're just about to release a Genesis collection that's out on everything else. But whatever.
It's not for us to understand.
No.
What exactly is Sega Ages? Is that going to be sort of like the arcade archives where they have a series of titles, or is it one title that just contains a whole bunch of stuff?
No, it's going to be, I think it's going to be separate. I think it's going to be like the arcade stuff where they are selling you individual games, but I don't know. Are those out now? Are some of those out? I know Sonic the Hedgehog 1 was going to be the first one, but I think they're like $8 to $10 each. And then there's going to be like a $30 collection with like 50 games on it.
It's
so
a lot.
Like you can buy each game individually for $8 a piece, or for whatever it is, $30-$40.
Kind of like they did with the 3D classics then, right? They eventually released those in packages and a cartridge that were a better deal, but
right.
probably contained a bunch of crap you didn't necessarily want. So
Yeah.
it's nice to have the option either way.
I think they did that with Mega Man as well, didn't they? Release some of the titles individually first, and then the collections came
because
out?
Good point.
there's the they were all available on the virtual console for
That's what I
$5
was
a
thinking.
pop for the NES, and they even did the Super NES ones, and then later did the collection because I actually bought Mega Man 2 from the NES one, and then later bought the Mega Man collection that had everything else in it.
Yeah, I had Mega Man 2 and 3 before I got the whatever they called it, the Legacy Collection or
Yeah,
whatever it was with the first 6.
right. And that's always been, and those go on sale quite a bit too. So that's when I picked them up.
Yeah,
Speaking
like
of which-
$5.
Speaking of which, by the time this podcast drops, we're gonna have 3 new games on the sweet NES Online.
Oh, what are the 3?
Solomon's Key, of course.
Your favorite?
Super Dodgeball,
Oh, okay.
and
Not horrible.
NES Open Tour Golf. Is
Yeah.
that what it's called?
All right.
Yeah.
Well, 2 out of 3 are decent.
The best
Or were at one point.
the best NES Nintendo made golf game. If I put enough caveats in there, it's true.
Super Dodgeball was one that I think I tried a couple times with one of my friends over at their place, and I think I liked it, but I don't remember seeing it ever again after that.
Yeah, it's one of those ones that for a long time was a rare NES game and worth a lot of money, and then everybody found their copies, and now it's cheap again. But
Weird.
I first experienced it. I was telling Jason this when we were talking about these games off the air, that I first experienced it when Atlas released a dodgeball sequel on Game Boy Advance that I have. And I was like, this is kind of cool. And someone was like, oh, is that the NES game? I was like, there was an NES game? And then I bought the NES game, which is not as good as the Game Boy one, as you might expect. But the Game Boy one is actually like a sequel that has, more features and cooler throws and stuff. But it's a fun game. What I remember about the NES version is that it had some of like the most choppy graphics ever. Because there's like a lot of flashing in it and stuff, so your character will just like disappear for chunks and stuff like that. So I'm pretty sure it's still that way. We'll find out tomorrow, or if you're listening to this when it comes out, we'll learn about this yesterday.
Ooh, mind blowing.
But yeah, it's as good as any of the other games on that service right now, except Tecmo Bowl, which is a masterpiece.
It still has some issues, by the way.
What, Tecmo Bowl?
Yeah.
What about Tecmo Super Bowl? Didn't you? Everyone tells me that's
that's superior
version. Yeah.
Well, and here's the thing: Tecmo Super Bowl came out on NES. It also came out on Super NES.
Yeah.
I've got the NES version. I never did get the Super NES one. But the reason that one was so superior is that one added battery saves to Tecmo Bowl, and it's still the same game. I think it might have had some more plays instead of 4. Like it might have opened it up to 6 plays. It saved your season data, so like you could have injuries and stuff, and it would like save all your stats from the season, so you could like how many rushing yards and passing yards you had and stuff like that. So it was just like a slightly deeper version of Tecmo Bowl, but at the heart of it, it was the same game. It looked the same for the most
Sold.
part. Yeah,
I am now convinced that is the definitive version.
Yeah, it is. It is. It's better. And I do have Super Tecmo Bowl 3, the final edition for Super NES, and I never really played. I also was digging through a box of my old NES stuff, and I found I don't have Tecmo Bowl for NES. I only have Super, but I somehow have an owner's manual for Tecmo Bowl. I also found my owner's manual for Pro Wrestling. So
Very nice.
I've got a bunch of the stuff. Like I said, I was when you look at that NES Classic, it's like how many of those are going to be on this service by the time Christmas? Well, I guess by the time Christmas rolls around, maybe 8 or 9 or 10.
Yeah, they don't want to scalp sales of them. The
Yeah.
classics too quickly, right?
I still
But a
don't.
lot of them are. Doesn't the Classic only have Double Dragon 2, but not Double Dragon 1?
Correct.
Yeah, that's weird.
Yeah, it missed like it only has Mega Man 2.
I'll allow that.
There are just too damn many Mega Mans. Good God.
I must love each and every
But
one.
if you're only gonna have one, 2 is the one to have.
There's literally 50 or 60 unique Mega Man games.
Yeah, there's them all.
It's nuts. It's the X's, the zeros,
The ZX.
There's like tactical ones on the
and
GBA.
they only ever had by the way, every Mega Man game is unique. There was never a port, as far as I can tell. Same Mega Man game. I think there's maybe 1 or 2 exceptions, but otherwise, like, you know what I mean? X1, 2, 3 were only on N64 or whatever, and X4, 5, and 6 were only on PlayStation. The Mega Man 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 on Game Boy are Roman numerals, as to set them apart from Mega Man 1 through 5 on the original NES, which are, Arabic numerals. But whatever. Yeah, just a random interesting point I've noted. Like there's no 2 Mega Man games that have the same name.
Huh.
It's kind of like the Street Fighters.
I don't know about that.
Mess, yeah.
I think we found our preview clip for the week. Mouth sounds.
Right? We agree, right? Street Fighter. I'd say Street Fighter 2. There's Street Fighter 2 Turbo on multiple consoles. There's Street Fighter 2 Champion Edition on multiple consoles.
Yeah.
I know what you're saying, though, Barry. There are a million different variations. Same thing with like King of Fighters and stuff. But it's, I don't know, not quite the same. But anyway, random side topic, just because I know Jason's a huge Mega Man fan.
And Mega Man 11's out.
And Mega Man's, yeah, exactly. And it's news right now because there's yet another Mega Man. But sorry, go ahead.
I wanted to bring this up. I was a little salty about this. So on all the other platforms, there is a Mega Man collection, and maybe I brought this up last week. So if I have, I'm sorry. That has basically Mega Man collection, Mega Man X collection, plus Mega Man 11 for like $60. But on Switch, you can buy the collection separately and buy Mega Man 11 separately. Why don't we get the bigger collection?
For a total cost? What's the total cost?
$60. It's $59.99 for 19 games or something like that.
Okay, but we can get the same thing here. We just have to buy it in 2 separate packages, or
I don't know. I don't know if they add up to the same or not.
Or maybe 3 because we've got Collection 1 and Collection 2.
Oh yeah, Collection 2
both
is
those
X's,
released?
right?
Because weren't they going to release one of the collections, but then the other one wasn't coming till later or something?
Well, that was what happened on the 3DS, and then the second collection just never was released.
Never came, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm not.
The same thing with the 3D. By the way, same thing with 3D Classics collection. They originally announced 2 of them.
Yeah.
Like the first one is called Collection 1, and there is no Collection 2.
I feel like we got to be getting to the point with Mega Man games too, where the people who are going to buy them multiple times are done buying them for their last time.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like how many consoles have you bought this on previously?
Yeah. Like
then again, there's always new kids out there that are like, I want to try out the first Mega Man game. Yeah, maybe.
I think the NES online service is going to kill a lot of these games. Kids are going to be trying them for the first time and going, Jesus, is this what the NES was like? These games all suck.
Yeah.
Because they're putting out the sucky games.
See, that's the thing is, in the short term, I think Nintendo thinks that by doing that, right, they're building anticipation for the bigger games. But in the long term, they're giving people shovelware. And people are going to ultimately be like, oh, yeah, the NES had a few good games, but most of it was crap.
Yeah, I mean it's like they're holding back the good ones. Like I don't know why Super Mario Brothers 2 wasn't there. They should have just dropped all three of those.
Yes, I don't get that either.
You know, Mega Man 2.
Well, actually,
Wow.
Super Mario Brothers 2, I think, was overall isn't it like the least well reviewed of the three?
Probably, but those people should go back and play it.
I mean, don't get me wrong. I played
Yeah.
through it at the time, and to
It's
me,
fine.
at the time when it was released in the US, not knowing any different about Super Mario Brothers 2 in Japan, like, oh, this is the next Super Mario Brothers game. Everyone just accepted it at face value and enjoyed it as such. And yeah, none of us.
I think that could be part of the reason.
Right.
That could be part of the reason because there is a Famicom and an NES online, and those are two different games. So maybe they were just not sure how to deal with that yet.
Maybe it's that complicated. Yeah, that's true.
But they could have just easily been like, here's Super Mario Brothers 2 for Japan and Super Mario the Lost Levels for US and Doki Panic and Super Mario 2 in the US.
Well, they released it ultimately as Super Mario USA anyway.
Yeah.
So they don't even need to acknowledge Doki Panic's existence necessarily. But it would be cool if they right. That'd be a neat thing to release if Nintendo were smart.
Didn't they release that on Wii?
Did they finally release? Oh, on Wii. Okay, Wii Virtual Console would be the one place that I would think they might have released it. Yeah. That's exactly what they got to be doing now. They got to be tickling that obscure, Nintendo history bone. I think that'll bring some lapsed fans back into the fold. That kind of stuff.
Some of that is rights issues too, though, because the characters they used for Doki Doki were owned by someone else.
Fair enough. Yeah, that's right. They were from some anime. That's true.
Yeah. Well, they can tickle my bone anytime.
But right, some of those other and Barry does make a good point about some of those old licenses. You just never know. We're never going to see Mike Tyson's Punch Out again.
Yeah.
But bringing back an English. Here's the other thing. In my traipsing through the internets and ROMs and all that business, like there are so many like reasonably professionally done fan translations out there that you can patch the ROMs with. So right, I've got a translated English version of the first Fire Emblem game and Mother 3 and all that stuff. They're all out there. So it's like this isn't rocket science localizing this shit, guys. Like people are happy to do this for you for free. So I don't, they should just start shoveling this stuff out. I think stuff like the original Fire Emblem games that never came out here. Jason, you'd be all over that, wouldn't you?
Yeah.
Right.
I would love to see them come here.
And the Mothers and the original Dragon Quest and whatever the hell order they came out in, and all that stuff. I think there would be a total market for that, and it would be they could pay somebody minimum wage. Or they could have Google do it for a lot of that stuff these days, right? And just pay somebody minimum wage to proofread it. Like it seems like they should start pushing that stuff out. I would think that the NES classics would be a perfect place to do it. There's a surprising number of things that never came out in the US that I didn't realize never came out in the US, like Space Invaders. Oh, go ahead.
With the Fire Emblem stuff, they have to redo that, rebox it, and resell it to us for a higher price because it's got improved cutscenes, improved graphics, DLC, and stuff like that. That's what they've done so far.
Yeah. They need to remaster. They need to,
get more money.
But at the same time, remember on the Wii U, there were a couple of those they brought over, and they tried to dock us an extra $4 or $6 for them, right? Some of those ones that I'm trying to think. I think there was some obscure Japanese N64 title that they ported over for the Wii U Virtual Console. What was that called?
We got Sin and Punishment.
Sin and Punishment is the one I'm thinking of. Yeah,
I bought that because I had the Wii version. I mean, it's an on-rail shooter. It's not bad. It's good. Yeah. I mean, it's not great. It's whatever.
It just is what it is. But point
It
being,
is what it is. That's one of those titles that they'll bring back someday, probably.
that's the thing, right? Is those kinds of things they need to start doing that thing again. That was, remember, when the Wii came out, there was the core fan base was kind of split. It's like, oh, it's not an HD console. It's weak. Right? But then the virtual console brought some of those people back. The hardcore gamers were like, wow, they've got Rondo of Blood. Wow, they've got this, they've got that. And I think those are the kind of things they need to start packing the Switch with, stuff that you can only get here, or for the most part.
Yeah.
Rondo of Blood, maybe not so much, but Nintendo's own back catalog of obscure all little stuff. And maybe they won't sell a ton of it, but having that stuff on the eShop is still a good selling point. You know what I mean? Even if they don't sell a lot of those games specifically, having that stuff on there gives them a certain level of legitimacy, I think, with gamers and people. You know what I mean? I think they'll sell more stuff in the long run. Go ahead.
Rondo of Blood. PlayStation Konami has basically confirmed there's no plans for it to come anywhere else. A PlayStation exclusive of Symphony of the Night and Rondo of Blood is coming to PlayStation. But I guess PlayStation had something to do with Symphony of Night, like in the development as well, so it'll probably always remain theirs exclusive. So, but yeah, I mean, we'll take Castlevania. Konami hasn't really, other than Bomberman, I don't know what else they've got on Switch. Not a lot. And that's a Hudson title. I guess they gave us Gradius. They're happy to give us their 8-bits. How do we not even have Castlevania yet?
When was the last Gradius game?
Oh, they've been making them on other systems, but I mean, the only one we've got on, other than Bomberman, which was a Hudson title, is on Switch anyway. Is just the NES Online. As far as I know, I don't think Konami's made a bunch of Switch games.
Konami can suck it anyway.
Maybe they'll give us one of those horrible Metal Gear ones that everyone hated.
Yeah, we'll get whatever's the worst reviewed one. That'll be the one they port.
But I think they're I think there was some other 2D Castlevanias that aren't coming to Switch. I don't know. Maybe they'll throw us Frogger.
There we go. That's the game everyone's anticipating.
Or something. I'd like to see Pro Evolution Soccer. I actually think that's better than FIFA. Wow.
I'd just like to see a Ritual of the Night or Bloodstained or whatever.
Oh, yeah. Next year, maybe.
Yeah, maybe.
Still happening sometime. Before we completely wander off from our Mega Man topic, there was one other bit of news that's come out regarding Mega Man, and I know everyone is just excited for this.
Oh, yeah.
They're releasing a live-action Mega Man movie. It's happening, folks. It's legit.
That's just the dumbest idea ever.
They haven't cast Mega Man yet, though.
Well, no, it's not the dumbest idea ever. I heard there was going to be, a Tetris movie. There was an emoji movie.
Yeah, I don't know what happened to the Tetris movie. That was all the rage. Then do you think somebody had cold feet?
I hope so.
And said,
there've been a lot of things. There's been a lot of things over the years that I heard. Oh, they're making a movie of this, and then never hear anything about it again. So I really hope that's the case with this, because that sounds like just a terrible idea.
Yeah.
But Mega Man says it will appeal to both game players and action movie fans.
And then what they said about the Wizard?
I have no idea.
Maybe they said that about Super Mario Brothers movie. I don't know.
Yeah. Following up on Tetris, in 2016, sources reported, this is from Wiki, that they were going to be making the film, shooting it in China in 2017 with an $80 million budget. However, no 2017 or later sources have ever confirmed that the film actually ever went into production. So maybe they looked at the internet and they were like, maybe we're crazy to spend $80 million on a Tetris movie.
I figure they just sat down and said, we're going to make need to write up the story for it. And they said, what can we write about fallen blocks?
Yeah.
I think it should be about guys in a warehouse stacking boxes.
Yeah, at least some of the Mega Man games have a semblance of a story, but it's not one that you can really translate, and it's not one that people who aren't familiar are going to get.
It's like, how do you make a movie out of like an actual puzzle, right? Like an old school piece together puzzle. That's effectively what Tetris is. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Hey, let's make a movie out of Scrabble.
It's not even.
Yeah. Well, they did make Battleship, which Jason loved.
Tell me you didn't love that.
No, but there is a friend of the podcast who loves that movie.
Oh, I thought that was you.
It was not me.
Are we allowed to tell who that is?
I believe it was Trust that really loved that movie.
No, I thought you loved that.
No,
like,
it's tolerable.
You saw it. Did you see it in the theater?
No, I did not.
Oh.
I mean, well, it's like snakes on a plane. It's like
no judgments.
It's like no matter how tolerable the movie is, it's still like it's just the premise and or the title is just so bald-faced and stupid. Like, I don't know. Like, you know what I mean? Like Battleship, that movie was made because somebody needed to use a license or something. Like there was some weird like office meetings that happened for that movie to be made. I don't, you know what I mean? Like it wasn't a script. A script was generated for a purpose, right? It wasn't hey, I got a script movie. Like, it wasn't that. It was like, we need a script for this Battleship movie.
I mean, well, I'm sure they just grabbed one off a stack and were like, let's call it Battleship. What if we move it from a spaceship to a ship in the water?
Exactly. This was supposed to be on the moon. But...
Yeah, it's hard to make a movie work when they take a title like that. Like Resident Evil, I think, has had probably the most success as far as films go, just judging by the number of them.
And I think that's because it never made any... Like, it never tried to be anything more than what it was, which was just kind of a cheesy, low-budget action movie.
I've heard rumors over the years that, they want to make a Metroid live action. It's like, yeah. And then I'm like, wait a minute. No. Like, it really wouldn't. It's just like, just watch this person run around shooting stuff and not talking. Or like...
Or no, you'd get something like you get a movie version of Other M is what you get. And
or Castlevania, which I guess is a series now on Netflix, and that was renewed and whatever. I think the second season might be on its way pretty soon. It's getting Halloween time, shouldn't it?
I would potentially accept an animated Metroid series.
It's hard.
It would, you know how they'd have to do it. You remember the Eon Flux little episodes that they would do on MTV? Yeah. So right, short little 5-minute.
It got a live action movie.
Yeah, it wasn't very good.
That's true. Yeah, and it's also true. See, that's the thing is Eon Flux worked best as little 2-minute long or 5-minute long, right? The same way Spy versus Spy worked best as like a 4-panel comic.
Yeah. By the way, I liked Spy versus Spy on Commodore 64, and I know they made an NES version, and I've never played it, but it's probably the same.
Oh, really? That's interesting. I'll have to see if it's the same.
That said, I liked it in like 1984, so.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, that's true, man. But
it was really heavy into the Spy versus Spy, and I never. It's like, have you read these comics? Do you know about this?
You had to be if you were a Mad Magazine follower at all, then you knew you were into Spy versus Spy, basically.
I was not.
Go ahead.
I just looked up some of the top grossing video game adaptation movies. And Tomb Raider seems to do well. Number 2 ever was Angry Birds movie, which is fairly recent. But that's animated.
That's true.
There's
By
Prince
the way, I
of
can't believe
Persia.
I nailed it. Spy versus Spy was 1984.
And then you've got stuff like the Pokemon movie. The first one, at least, did okay. But again, animated.
Yeah.
Live action is a lot tougher.
Super Mario didn't do too great. I don't remember Street Fighter or Mortal Kombat being that awesome.
I forgot about the Assassin's Creed movie.
Oh gosh, don't.
Everybody did.
That was horrible. I saw that.
Oh, by the way,
Yeah.
speaking of which, there's the new Assassin's Creed Abomination Odyssey has a little Breath of the Wild Easter egg in it, where there's a circle of rocks, and in the middle of them is a little guy with like a leaf on his head, which I guess Ubisoft has confirmed is indeed a little wink to the Koroks.
Yeah, I'm not surprised. I mean, they had, with the Skyrim and stuff, there was parallels drawn before. So,
And they call the game Odyssey, so.
Oh yeah, right. That was a different. Yeah, there was even a Warcraft movie that surprised me too.
Yeah, there's been a lot of stinkers, man. I don't know. I can't imagine a Mega Man being good at all, but it's probably not supposed to be.
I can't imagine not just a movie, but someone dressed in any way to resemble Mega Man.
It's not going to. It's not going. He's going to have like a full helmet or something that covers the face. His arm's going to be. It's going to be like the new RoboCop movie remake, or something. It's not going to look anything like Mega Man. It's just going to be called Mega Man. I'm sure.
There's no way you can put a real person in that blue helmet head thing and not have them look incredibly stupid.
Christian Bale is Mega Man.
Remember the Street Fighter movie back in '94?
Which one?
Street Fighter.
Yeah. I
saw bits of it.
I unfortunately do. I think that was one of Raul Julia's last films too.
It was, yeah. He was M. Bison. That was so sad for him that was his last movie.
And Jean-Claude Van Damme was.
That's probably what killed him.
Yeah.
Yeah. And if you remember,
certainly didn't help.
Go ahead, Jason.
I was saying, were you insinuating that Jean-Claude Van Damme delivered the final blow there?
No, I'm insinuating that being in a movie, like Street Fighter, the movie, was what dealt the final blow.
Yeah, I could go with that. Yeah.
Or perhaps the reviews of the movie after it came out. I don't know. I think he died before it actually was released. I don't remember. But you guys remember they released that Street Fighter, the arcade game, right? That was his last movie.
That was his final movie. Yeah.
Yeah.
And Adam's Family Values was his second to last. So.
Yeah, but I remember everybody talking about, poor Raul Julia is going to be remembered for Street Fighter. Because on the news, that was on when they read off the obituary, everyone mentioned Street Fighter.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, it was. You guys remember they released that Street Fighter the movie arcade game, right? That was effectively a Street Fighter competitor to Mortal Kombat. But it had it was actually Van Damme as the little.
And supposedly that was put out by Activision.
Oh, really? That was not Capcom, huh?
That recently came out that Activision, somebody acquired Activision, or the rights to put out Activision games, and that was Street Fighter the movie was one of the games that it said that they had acquired. Yeah,
probably just because something to do with the movie license and the
something
actors and all that business. Yeah, Capcom
the
probably
says Incredible Technologies is the name of the company, and then distributed by Capcom. But yeah, stinky.
Well, since we're going down this trip to memory lane and hanging out in the 80s and getting all that good stuff, I think we should bring up another sad topic, or a little sad topic for us, and that is Jeffrey LLC is finally, which is Toys R Us if you're not familiar, is finally has a future in sight. So basically the company that's been dealing with them, their secured lenders, has said, we didn't get any better offer over the last 6 months, so we're going to take them and try to do something with this. So it's still pending per the bankruptcy court findings and everything, but it's looking like they will come back, possibly.
Pop-up stores, it sounds like there's going to be their first target, which doesn't sound like a bad idea.
They unveiled plans for preliminary thing called Jeffrey's Toy Box, which is a wholesale store within a store. So I don't know if that means like Target's going to have a Toys R Us section, or Best Buy. They could pop these things up around Christmas time, like the Spirit Halloween stores that come and vanish in the
Yeah,
nights.
that's kind of what I'm guessing. That they're going to be seasonal kind of things. Yeah, that's, at least that was what I read that kind of made it sound something like that. Which that sounds cool. Like if that's where they got to start, like go back to just start really small and work your way back up. That's fine.
But at the same time, it's not Toys R Us.
No.
But you know what? Here's the thing, though.
Sticking that dumb giraffe on something and saying, "Remember this? Buy stuff here."
Yeah, but here's the thing, though. If they can do that for a couple years, a couple Christmases, and build enough capital that way that they can actually start opening a few stores and start, you know what I mean? I think they could do it. It's just the business model. Everybody knew that business model was not going to continue to work in the era of the internet. And everybody also knew 10 years ago, 20 years ago, even when Amazon started getting big, that everyone was like, okay, where's Toys R Us? Like, why is it not, why am I going other places to buy toys? That always, you know what I mean? It always kind of surprised me that Toys R Us site was always so behind. That it was always, you can never like order for in-store pickup. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
all
their
this
site
stuff
was pretty horrible.
all the sites that other stores had added years and years and years ago, it was like, come on, guys, this has to be something where you can call like GoDaddy and get this shit done. This is not rocket science. Why the hell aren't you doing this? And I think part of it was, I think we figured out over the course of this, I don't think they ever really had any kind of real inventory system. Like, remember over the years how hard it would be to call Toys R Us and figure out if they had something in stock or not?
Oh, yes.
Like Amiibo? Oh.
Like, I don't think they ever entered the computer age, like back in the 70s or 80s. Like, I don't think they ever computerized their systems or ever at least kind of, brought them all into under one roof. It really seemed like they just totally missed the technology boat completely.
For years, they had those sales in September, maybe in the spring, and it's like, buy two, get one free. And I would wait on purchasing games for those sales to come up so I'd get them at a discount. And you always just kind of went and you looked and you tried to find the cards on the shelf if you could. But then I always ended up just taking like a handwritten list and handing to the guy, because you had to walk around the back, around to a back counter and saying, hey, have you got any of these? And then they'd be gone for like 15 minutes and it's like, hey, I found these. They didn't know. It's like, if you got a copy of this, they didn't know.
Yeah, no.
Digging around in the back. And whether you got what you wanted or not depend on whether or not they were willing to look.
Yeah, and I didn't work there, so I don't know what their system was like, but in my experience with it, I think everybody's experience with it, it certainly seemed antiquated. And it's so disappointing because, that should have been a no-brainer, them getting on the internet and becoming, like, you know what I mean? That should have been just the easiest transition in the world for any, like, if any company was going to just make it on the internet, no problem, it should have been friggin' Toys R Us, for God's sakes.
Yeah, it was further complicated, too, by the botched deal with Amazon, where they thought Amazon was going to handle that for them, and then...
True enough. That did kind of that kind of screwed them up, I suppose.
Their exclusivity deal fell through, and they got a couple of million in compensation, but it put them even more years behind in developing their online systems of their own.
True enough.
Barry lives in Canada, the land where Toys R Us never went away.
Yeah, all of this does not affect Canada in any way. And there are...
You live in, like, bizarro America, where, like, none of the bad stuff ever happens. You didn't elect an asshole. You didn't lose Toys R Us. Like,
everyone could smoke weed.
Oh, we've got our quirks too, but
So it's winter 10 months out of the year. It's a fair trade.
There's some interesting hiccups up here because our population is so spread and so focused on the cities that it creates some logistical situations that are rather unique.
I'll guarantee you got stretches of horrible road from one populated area to another somewhere.
Well, some of the roads are better maintained than others, but
I guess that
yeah,
applies just about anywhere.
yeah, I expect so. But just
and no rats.
the diverse. Well, that's regional to an extent. But I remember hearing that most countries, if you look at the demographics of the population, you get about a 50-50 split between urban and rural areas for overall
Yeah.
population. In Canada, it's 80% in the urban centers and 20% rural.
Yeah. Scary.
On top
Wait.
of everything being so far flung, because
I think
everything's
some other
sparse based.
good
Wait,
news
who
on
got a
this
boat?
story.
Never mind.
Some of the other stuff is they might actually be looking to pay some of their employees like a little bit of severance as well out of this newest deal.
Yeah, I heard they're putting together a $20 million fund, but for 33,000 employees who lost jobs, that only comes to about $600 a piece.
I'll
And
tell you
that's
what,
it, ideally.
still pretty amazing to be working at a Toys R Us and getting anything.
Yeah.
Because I wouldn't expect any of those companies to ever take care of.
Yeah, something's better than nothing.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I imagine that's going to break out. I imagine for minimum wage employees, they're going to get probably even half of that 600, and then higher level employees will get a lot more.
But don't worry, because the execs already got a few million before the bankruptcy.
Yeah, exactly. They will. They will be taken care of. They'll be very well taken care of.
If you remember, they decided that they needed to get bonuses so that they didn't have to go into bankruptcy.
Yeah. That was. Yeah, this is how we will motivate ourselves to make sure that we don't go bankrupt.
This is how we'll motivate ourselves to motivate everyone else.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. It's nice that in some small part it will live on. But I think a big thing of toys is, hands-on and impulse buys.
Connection to the kids.
Yeah.
And have it in their mind.
So
Well, that's why
it's hard to see a commercial and be like, I'm going to order that online.
Well, okay, fair enough, and so that, but at the same time, Toys R Us could have built a site that, had videos, had demonstrations, had, you know what I mean? They could have done that kind of thing if they'd really started early. And like you said, there's the Amazon thing and whatever else, but it just really seems like
I mean, they had a site, but I never
a big opportunity.
I could never. I mean, you can navigate it, but it was very clunky. It was like, are you guys a major corporation or not?
Yeah, like we ordered stuff from Babies R Us. We for example, we had our baby registry on Babies R Us, and it was functionable. It was functionable. It was you know what I mean. It was functionable. It was functional and serviceable, but it was not. It wasn't great. It was
so kludgy.
You could buy stuff on it. You could I mean it worked. It was limited. I don't think you could order anything for in-store pickup or anything like that. It didn't have, it's just a real basic store website like any mom and pop shop would set up. There was never anything, you know what I mean? I think they had reviews. They were pretty limited. Like that's about the same number of reviews per product that like the e-cigarette site that I go to has. Right. It is what it is. It was just kind of a wimpy site, and there wasn't a lot of stuff on it. Like that was the other thing, right? Did anybody ever order amiibos from Toys R Us? I might have once, but it was like otherwise you had to go to the store.
No, because the store even had those little tags. They even had the pre-order tags for stuff where it's like, I remember when the second wave came out, they had little tags where you could pre-order them all. Whatever.
Yeah, but I don't like you just couldn't. They would have a thing on the website that would say visit our stores to get an amiibo or for the new amiibo line or whatever, and they just wouldn't.
That might have been part of Nintendo's thing too, because it doesn't seem like any of the retailers really had any idea when they were coming or if they were coming or if they were, how many they were getting. I feel like Nintendo was really uniquely
But they would show up on the site for a little bit, right? Best Buy and Amazon would have those 5 or 15-minute windows. Toys R Us just wouldn't even have that.
Yeah. I would say like call store or something like that.
Yeah, like you if you wanted something from Toys R Us, if you wanted, what, you know, whether it was an NES Classic or whatever it was, you lined up at Toys R Us when it opened, just like you did back in the 50s.
Yeah.
I think
I went to
did see
Toys R
Amiibo
Us for the
once.
Amiibo release.
One time I looked and I saw some Amiibos coming out shortly or around release anyway, where they had a few listed, but they didn't have them all, and it was just easier to go to the store. But
Yeah.
And you had to go to the store because if you called them, most likely they would either not answer the phone, you would be put on hold for 15, 20 minutes, and they would forget you were ever there, or they would just say, "No, we don't have that," and hang up.
Mm.
And then you know they did.
That was just you.
That was just me.
Like that chasing guy's calling again.
Yeah.
just out of curiosity, since you mentioned it earlier, what is the minimum wage down where you are? Because they just hiked it up here, and I don't know. I guess I'm just out of touch.
Is it like $8.25 maybe? Somewhere in the $8 zone?
No,
It's not a
federal
bunch.
federal minimum wage is around $10, I thought, but they that's a good question now, because all the states kind of, not all of them, but some states tack on their own additional.
$8.25 an hour is officially minimum wage in the United States. Yeah.
Lower than I thought.
That's kind of what I figured. They just raised ours to 15, and that just seems
where ours is.
ridiculous.
In California, it's 11. Yeah.
What?
Yeah, California, $11.
But
then it does list. It does list other states, though. I guess that's just my state. It's $8.25 because it does say Indiana is $7.25.
Federal is $7.25.
Yeah,
according to Google.
So $7.25 is that. So. Yeah.
Oh, my bad. LA County is $12 an hour.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know each province is different up here too. So.
But I still feel like $7.25 is awful.
Yeah.
But it was 5-something when I started working 20 years ago. So it hasn't gone up a whole bunch. But everything else has. Whatever.
Before we turn into...
That's for a different podcast.
Yeah.
Join us on the Money Minute Fridays. Oh.
Well, we were talking about Amazon a moment ago, and I saw this interesting news story come up about Amazon France, in fact.
Oh, yeah.
So it turns out Amazon France was selling Nintendo Switches at a little bit of a discount. They were going for €270 rather than the standard asking price of $299 to $329, which is what Nintendo has said. So Nintendo says, that's fine. You're going to sell it for less. You're not getting any more. So you can't buy official Amazon France Nintendo Switches.
Which, I mean, who's really losing out there?
Yeah. The people of France.
I would say Nintendo has more to lose than Amazon. But I think Nintendo needs Amazon more than Amazon needs Nintendo.
That also tells you that Nintendo has agreements with probably every retailer.
Yeah. I'm sure that I'm sure they're one of those people that has a very strict. Well, I even know just from like music stores and stuff, from being a musician my whole life, that there are prices that are like, this is not just an MSRP, but this is the lowest you can ever put it on sale for. Like that they guitar companies will have, because they used to have in some of the music catalogs, it'll say call for price.
Mm-hmm.
And it's because there's a rule that they're not allowed to print a price lower than a certain price. Like they can't put it in print so that people know that it can be purchased for that low. So like have you ever seen the C price in cart?
Yeah.
That's because it's lower than the minimum advertised price which I guess is at the MAP that the manufacturer sets. So yeah, Nintendo probably has a thing where you're not allowed to ever sell it for less than this amount of money.
Yeah, that's why you can. That's why you don't see like cheap last year's models of stuff anymore.
Yeah,
like you used to, or at least not as cheap. Like last year's Roku or last year's Fire Stick will either not be available.
Not going to be in the store.
Yeah, or if it is, it's not going to be as cheap as Best Buy would sell it to get it out the door or whatever.
Right.
You know what I mean? They'll sell it as cheap as they can, as they're allowed to, but that's still not. It's a standard discount, and like you said, Mo, it becomes real obvious because it's like, oh, every site seems to have this same sale price. Maybe not all at the same time, but they all seem to rotate through this same.
But it's never lower than this. And then Best Buy will, like a lot of times with Nintendo stuff, they won't discount it, but they might throw in something.
Mm-hmm.
Like half off Labo.
Unless it's an Animal Crossing amiibo.
Yeah. It's funny. I went to my local video game store today, and they have 1,000 boxes of Skylanders. They just have a small little amiibo section. It's all Animal Crossing amiibo, and they're all $8 used. These are open out of the box. They're all $8. I'm like, you guys are never selling any of your 30 Tom Nooks that you have. Well, maybe until Animal Crossing Switch comes out.
Even then, dude, $8 for a used one.
Yeah. I'm sure you can still get them online cheaper than that.
Yeah, I'm sure you can still get them for $2 on Amazon new.
I think Tom Nook got down to what, a quarter?
Yeah, literally, like I think the lowest I saw was maybe 49 cents.
It was less than $1 by a lot.
They obviously had no minimums on those.
Yeah. I don't think I ever actually completed my collection. I think I'm still missing I'm
still missing 3 myself.
Still missing some of the owls or something.
Missing one of the Isabels, Rover, and Timmy and Tommy.
Oh, I am missing the oddball Isabel. What was the second Isabel that came out with the alternate suit? How did you get her? How do you get the summer outfit?
She was just available.
Yeah.
Oh, you just had to buy it separate? Oh, okay.
Yeah, originally, though, wasn't it only available with the Wii U game, and then they made it available separately or something?
I think so.
Oh, wow.
Go down that dark path.
Tom Nook's back up to like $8 on Amazon.
Since we are, I bet the recent announcement of Animal Crossing has
maybe
up a bit.
It looks like it's just because it's out of it's kind of an out of print product now. But sorry.
Talking about dark alleys to go down, I thought this was a really weird thing. So Amazon Japan has announced their Smash Ultimate pre-order bonus. It's a bar coaster with a logo on one side.
A coaster, huh?
A coaster.
Is it made out of Labo?
It could be, and just painted black. It would be brilliant if it was.
If it was, that would be a single-use coaster.
Yes.
Nintendo should put out Labo Pogs. Punch out.
It's like a sheet. You punch out your own.
Yeah.
Wait, it's a coaster. It's not even like a beer cozy. It's a coaster.
Coaster.
Basically, old Wii or Wii U discs that didn't sell.
Yeah.
Could be. I'm just wondering. So, I know there's been pre-order bonuses throughout the year, and some of them's pretty good, some of them's pretty awful. I was just wondering, since we talk about everything else, anyone have any especially weird ones that they've got or seen?
No, not really. I mean, I'm still jealous of the Metroid 3DS Europe bundle.
Oh, that was bullshit.
Lots of cool stuff in it, keychains and whatnot. Even it wasn't, and it wasn't that great. If you actually tried to use the keychain, it would be broken in like a week. But still,
you could look at it and appreciate its beauty.
You could look at it and keep it in its little clear baggie and never open it. Say, look, I have a thing. But yeah, no, there's. I mean, they've had some cool ones, but I'm just glad Nintendo hasn't started doing what other companies do, where they make DLC that's specific to a store that you bought it at. Like
that's
you only get the character skin if you bought it at that's crap.
Well, like when what's the Rockstar game that had come out on Switch? Why can't I remember the name of it right now? The detective one, you know.
L.A. Noire?
L.A. Noire, that's it. Like when it originally came out GameStop had an edition, Best Buy had an edition, maybe Toys R Us, and they all had stories, like extra missions that were exclusive to the store that you bought it at. So you'd have to buy it 3 times if you wanted all of them. But they're all included in the Switch edition now, in the remastered edition. But like stuff like that is deplorable.
Yes. It even makes me angry talking about Amiibo with the exclusivity, especially to GameStop, the place where it was impossible to get Amiibo.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was very irritating. I just wanted to...
speaking of stuff like that, since we were on a little bit of an Amiibo kick, I did see some of the Smash Amiibo are being reissued, and they do have slightly different packaging
Yes.
than the original ones. So maybe those first run Amiibos that you still got in the box somewhere might be worth just that little extra quarter more because it's in its original thing. So that's a thing. But yeah, I don't know what all they're doing. If they're going to reissue everything, they'll probably see how well the first couple waves sell, and if they don't sell well, then because do we even know? Is it? I'm sure it's going to be the same stupid functionality, right?
Oh, I have no idea.
Have they talked about that?
No,
they haven't.
In the 2 hours that they've spent talking about every single aspect of different animations.
They haven't talked about the Amiibo functionality. They also, I don't think, have talked about that other mode that they had grayed out yet either.
Yeah, that'll be a little surprise in this month or next. When does that come out? Is that December or is it November for Smash?
November.
December.
So.
I'm pissed because it's coming out after Thanksgiving as always.
Oh, that's right. That's right.
Oh, that's right.
The 7th.
I remember the Wii U one was December. Oh, that's right. That's right. I remember now. Pearl Harbor Day.
It's Japan paying us back.
Yeah.
All right. I believe it is a good time to wrap up here. Oh. So, as always, I want to thank you for tuning in and listening. Special thanks to Barry for joining us again. Glad to have you with us.
Yeah.
So, always fun to be here.
Cool. And if y'all are keeping up with the episode numbers, you know that this is episode 75. So I feel like that's a little bit of a milestone. So if you've been listening along for a while, we appreciate it. So as always, thanks for listening. And you can check us out on Twitter at NOA_podcast. Listen to us on Stitcher and iTunes. And of course, hit us up right here on YouTube. So have a good night.
Good night.
Party on, folks.
Good night.
Good night.